What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Post to Post podcast. This week's episode is episode 67. With me, as always, my co-host Matt Small. What's going on, man?
Nothing. Happy Friday, 4/22. How was your week?
It was good. This is actually the second week in a row that I got to get out there and golf. So I actually played really well today. Shot a 47. Not too shabby.
Not bad.
Pretty happy about that. Would have been under 100 if I played 18. So that's good.
We played PGA this week on PC. I think I was like plus 45.
40, yeah, somewhere around there.
Yep,
that's pretty solid.
Pretty normal. Yep, I've done worse, I think.
Yeah, like on the course.
Probably.
I'm just kidding. But we do want to jump into some hockey talk here. We are not going to be doing our playoff dive this week. We realize that the regular season will be ending on May 1st, which is a Sunday. So it'd be a perfect time next Friday for us to wrap up the regular season and cover all the playoff matchups and everything. But it looks like, as we've said a few weeks ago, that the East is all set. Out west, we have the Avalanche, the Wild, and the Blues have all clinched, along with the Flames in the Pacific Division. Everything else is still kind of up in the air as far as seeding and what teams are going to be in or not. So that's kind of just the weekly rundown of where we're at. We do have some picks to check out next week as well from the beginning of the season. Some busted Stanley Cup picks and busted playoff picks. And we are not the experts, apparently.
Apparently not. I don't know what I picked. I honestly can't remember.
Yeah, it's not great. I looked it over.
I wouldn't be shocked if...
It's not great. We're not looking so good.
I'm sure the Philadelphia Flyers are somewhere in there for you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, just like Columbus Blue Jackets are in there for you.
No, dude.
Both of us had Chicago too, I think. So it's
really?
It's going to be really bad.
Oh boy.
But
okay.
In good news in the league, the Florida Panthers, Sergei Bobrovsky is now. Jesus Christ, you do it. You wrote it. You do it. Fuck's sakes.
Okay.
Fuck's sakes. Off to a good start.
Can't even give this guy the episode. Bobrovsky, he's got the most wins in one season in franchise history with the Florida Panthers after his 36th win. He has 80 wins total with the Panthers, putting him fourth all-time, where Roberto Luongo holds number one with 230. And this is his third season in Florida, by the way. Florida has yet to be shut out this season. A fun fact.
Thanks for taking care of that for me. That was atrocious. I just choked on my words and just kind of got stuck on the train tracks there. But
that's why I'm here.
Like I said before, I think that was one of my calls at the beginning of the season was how atrocious Bobrovsky was last year. I knew that this year he was going to have this bounce back season because that's just how he kind of plays. And it's good to see him fulfilling a $10 million contract rather than riding the pine and looking like shit.
Yep.
And then just to shout out the quality of the team that he's on and the guys he's with, the fact that they've yet to be shut out this season is something that I doubt any other team in the NHL could say.
No.
You know?
No way in hell.
Right?
They took over Colorado, by the way. Florida Panthers are number one in the league currently.
Wow. That's nuts.
And it's literally off of like one game. Like Florida Panthers one win over Colorado Avalanche, one loss. You know, it's just insane how close both those teams are. And Florida Panthers are like, nope, I'm going to take number one overall.
We'll see. I mean, there's still 5 more games for both of these teams to play out, so that could flip-flop by the time this episode drops, too, you know?
Yep, exactly.
But we did have an interesting little segment here. Chicago, Patrick Kane scores a really nice goal against Nashville the other night, and for some fucking reason just decides, like, I don't like you, scores his goal, and just mean mugs this guy and stares him down like a fan. Sitting in glass seats. He just skates over, stares him down, and then turns around and celebrates with his teammates.
I'm sure he was talking shit, guaranteed. He's in the stands, or not even just talking shit. I'm sure he was just like, flipping him off.
I don't know, dude. You think so?
The Hartman and Evander Kane, giving him that, I don't know. He had to have done something for Kane to just didn't even care about the rest of his teammates. No selling, no nothing. He goes, I'm going to go right to that guy and be like,
you would think, dude, like, well, why else would he do that? That's so weird. It was just so odd to see.
Yeah, I wish I knew, but I don't know.
I want to hear from that fan.
I want to hear from that fan. See, like, what did you do? But this also reminds me of. I honestly can't remember what team it was, but because it just popped in my head. But remember that fan that was giving someone shit? This is like way back in the day, and so he got the player got hurt on the ice, and one of the fans was just like rubbing his head, just making it seem like crying like a baby. And then the dude gets like a puck square to the head after the puck flipped over, and he's sitting there bleeding. They give him like a towel and whatever. The player comes by, goes,
Yeah. So funny.
Kind of remind
you.
I love those. I love those fan player interactions.
Yeah.
Just love them.
That was good. But let's stick to some goaltending here, too. Edmonton's Mike Smith has had 2 consecutive shutouts this week. He's actually the 6th goalie in NHL history who's 40 or older to record consecutive shutouts.
Wow.
Wild, man. Like, he's just, like, having a resurgence of a season.
Mm-hmm.
He really played like shit last season, too, for Edmonton, and now, their biggest struggle had been goaltending, and now they're on a heater. Like, they're looking all right heading into playoffs, don't you think?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I remember in the beginning of the season, weren't they struggling a little bit, but I think they found their what's the word I'm looking for? Found their skates, found their edge, and figured things out. I'm glad for it because in your next set of notes too, Smith had 2 tries on the empty netter, and we all know what Smith can do, and those are pretty insane to see him just rifle the puck.
Yeah, it's also kind of nuts for him to be like that bold and going for it when they're playing against Dallas, who's fighting for a playoff spot and trying to get in. Like, imagine if Dallas ends up tying that game up and winning in overtime, and now, they're in, the Predators are out. There's a lot of playoff implications that are at hand when you look at something like that. But good for him trying to get it twice. He did have a really good first one. The second one got blocked by a Dallas forward out front, but pretty cool to see. Mike Smith can really sauce the puck, so he took his shot.
Confidence must be through the roof, especially in NHL, that you could be like, I can get it over these guys.
Yeah, shoot.
Yep. But yeah, congratulations to Mike Smith. Moving on to Chicago here. Oh, sorry, I lied. Moving on to Minnesota here. We have an update on that whole Ryan Hartman, Evander Kane thing that actually I just talked about. So when we came out, I wasn't able to say how much total Ryan Hartman received, and through fans, I don't even know, just Minnesota Wild fans or just fans in general,
or haters, fans and haters,
fans and haters. He received over $40,000 for flipping off Evander Kane, and all of it was donated to Minnesota Children's Hospital. So thank you to all the fans, haters, and just people wanting to donate to Minnesota's Children's Hospital, I guess.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's
great. That's a big number,
that's
man.
Some weird news. Be like, yeah, if I flip off a player, get fined, Venmo me, and I'll pay the fine. But with that Venmo, all that Venmo money, I'll give it to like a children's hospital. This is a strange story.
Strange turn of events, yeah,
Yep.
Definitely. But good to see some good come out of it at least.
Right. Yeah.
We did have a little update here too in Minnesota. Still, Kirill Kaprizov has set the single-season goal record for the franchise at 44 goals. He initially passed it at 43, and he scored again the other night for 44. And actually, in the game tonight, he got some assists and points here that put him into the 100-point club for the season. Me and Matt were talking about this earlier. There's actually 7 players in the 100-point club this season, which I feel like is really high. Connor McDavid and his teammate Leon Draisaitl, Jonathan Huberdeau, Johnny Gaudreau and his teammate Matthew Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, and now Kirill Kaprizov. So, kind of nuts. That's like a lot of guys, I feel like. I don't know.
That is a lot of guys.
It seems like maybe Artemi Panarin could get in. He only needs 4, and Marner only needs 5 points, so they could get in. But from there, it kind of tapers off a little bit. But just thought it was an interesting little side piece.
It's almost like post-COVID bubble. These guys are just like, I can't wait to just rifle these past goalies.
Yeah. Kaprizov as a sophomore in the league, too, hitting 100 points. And even like Matthew Tkachuk, he's been around, we found out, like six seasons or so, but he's kind of like an underrated and like no one really talks about him kind of player. Like, I didn't know he was hitting 100 points this season. It's kind of nuts.
No. He's felt by the wayside because we talked about Matthew Tkachuk. Like, we talk about him, but we never really nothing really big news comes from him,
Yeah. I mean, he's actually put on quite a few between the leg goals and shots, though, this season. I feel like that's where we usually talk about him. Yeah. And with him stirring the pot and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one little blurb out of Minnesota, too. Brandon Duhaime actually got pranked with the classic rookie prank of filling his car up with packing peanuts. This was hilarious. I think it was Matt Dumba in Greenway, Jordan Greenway, that decided to do it to him. They had like the camera guys all filming him and everything, and like Duhaime knew right away. He's like, I know who did it. Don't worry. And he's like emptying the car out, and they're like, someone's giving commentary. They're like, oh, he's not even gonna clean the whole thing out. He's just gonna get some out and then enough to drive and then get in. And he's like cleaning the car out, and he's like, yeah, that's good. We can get in. Go. Did exactly what they said.
Do you think the players even cleaned it up, or it's just the cleaning crew that's like,
oh no, dude! You think
the
the player does, dude? He doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, I'll give you $800. Leave me alone.
How'd you get all those pack of peanuts in the car? That's what I want to know.
Just big bag, plastic bag full.
But like from the sunroof?
Oh, I would, yeah, all day.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
That's a nice rookie prank, by the way.
It's a classic one. It's an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
No harm done, you know.
Nope.
They used to be good back in the day. They would fuck with each other really bad. It was like disgusting the stuff they would do to each other.
It's like Ryan Reeves. Not Ryan Reeves. It was right. Who was I just talking about with Phil Kessel, scaring Phil Kessel?
Yeah, Ryan Reeves.
Oh, it was Ryan Reeves when they were both on the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's just like, it's not even a rookie thing, but it's just like, it's something they would do.
Yeah,
You know, just hide in the room and just the Pittsburgh Penguins. Speaking of Pittsburgh Penguins, HBO did like that 24/7 thing with them for like the Winter Classic, Road to the Winter Classic. I honestly can't remember the rookie at the time, but they pranked him, and Flurry was in on it. And
Flurry is like one of the pranksters of the NHL. He gets everyone, dude.
Right. So they like all went out to dinner, and a few guys like left early because they're just like, oh, I'm tired, but it's just bullshit. So they went back to his room, took everything in that room, bed, clock, everything, and just like put it all in the hallway. So like everything was set up like a normal room, just in the hallway, you know. And the dude gets back. I can't remember his name for life of me, but he gets back, sees it, and he goes, "Oh my god!"
I would be so frustrated, like coming back to the hotel, long night, you know, probably practice, game, whatever. Like you just finished dinner, come back after a couple drinks, and just want to go to bed, and like all your stuff is in the hallway, dude. Like,
hallway.
oh, that's brutal.
I know Flurry was doing something too with he was messing around with Gino, I think. This is when he was for Vegas for the I think the All-Star game or something like that, where he went in early. Some guy started recording him. He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, he's at Gino's locker and he's messing around with like his sock, so he can't put the sock on all the way and just gets messed up. And I think he's screwing around with his jersey too. And I'm like, dude, what a prankster and a half. Like I wish I had that mentality, just like have fun. But now you have that Flurry's got now you have that title now. So like I feel like if something happens and you're just like, is Flurry here?
But he never admits to it. Like they can never prove that it's him, which is hilarious too. Like he'll never admit it either.
Be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Just keeps walking away, and then sit on the bench and rap DMX at the Minnesota Wild game.
Jesus Christ,
that's what he did. I didn't send you that post.
No, I don't think so. I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, he's on the bench and the camera's going and DMX is going off and you could hear him like lip syncing the songs. Pretty cool dude. But let's move on to some more news here. The New York Islanders versus Toronto. Matthew Barzal has been fined $2,500 for unsportsmanlike conduct for holding on to Mitch Marner's jersey from the bench. This was just, I don't know, it's a fuck around move. Really
it was pretty funny, but also kind of scummy. Like, I don't think Barzal and Marner are boys like that, so I didn't really get it at first. Like, he really grabbed the sleeve of the shoulder, and it's at, like, the face-off, so he's, like, right over by the bench. He's on the right wing, and Barzal is, like, holding on for dear life, making sure Marner doesn't get into the zone right away. And, you know, that could really change, like, you know, how a game goes. I don't mean to sound like, you know, a stuck-up little, you know, like, I don't know, but it really can. Like, if that changes the break-in and, like, a planned in, like, you know, dump the puck in deep and Marner guns it down, but now he doesn't beat the defenseman to the puck, you know?
No. Yeah, 100%. It'd be funny if you just, like, Barzal, like, kind of held on to it, like, a little tug. But no,
he literally,
you're right. He grabbed on her and be like, hey, no, you're not going anywhere. And I guess if you're the Islanders, you got to try anything, right? You're out of the playoffs. You're out of the,
just to mess with them. $2,500 though. I mean, that's a decent whack, but it's also kind of like it's less than a slap on the wrist. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But let's stick to this Toronto team. They have set a single season record for wins and points for their franchise. They have 106 points on the season and 50 wins.
Woo.
Yeah, I did not think that this team was that much better than the Leafs teams of the past. If you think about, like, the dynasty that they used to have, the legends that they've had playing there, and like this team is the one that's better than them. Like they get no respect for how good they are. You know what I mean? Like everyone's like, oh, cool, we'll wait and see what happens in the first round.
Like we're talking about the Florida Panthers, and they're breaking like franchise records, but at the same time, their franchise hasn't really been around as long as a good portion. I wouldn't say a good portion of teams, like a percentage of these teams that's in the NHL. But then you see Toronto Maple Leafs, who are the original six, who's been around for so long that when you see stats like this, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, you guys surpassed, like, legends on like, that you've had on your team, Like, it just adds to it, But, like, what if we're seeing now, like, the Florida Panthers that are just, like, this is the team now that years from now they're going to have to beat, These is the great team. But I don't know. That's just my mentality.
It is, but at the same time, I feel like it's not. Like, I think that the way that the NHL is right now, there's a lot of really good teams and a lot of really bad teams, and I think that the good teams are kind of kicking around the bad teams. There's like a big skill gap almost in between like the really good and the really bad teams, and they're just like eating up free points, free wins from those guys. And I think that kind of chips into part of it. And on top of that, all the goal scoring that's happening. It's almost like you can't compare now and then, but you kind of need to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. We did
talk. Just kind of weird.
Sorry. We did talk about this before. Definitely, like, within the past, like, 5 episodes we've done, that there's no in-between team this season.
Yeah.
You are either, like, not good or you're just incredible. Like, there's no in-between that's, like, just making it.
I mean, there is still an in-between a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, those in-between teams get designated as streaky rather than an in-between team. Like in LA or like a Vegas, like they've been very streaky this season, so they fall into that like in the middle category. But I wouldn't say that they're. I don't know. I also wouldn't say they're good or bad. You know what I mean?
Right. And LA is coming out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
We kind of just. I stopped paying attention to them for a little bit. I was watching the games, didn't really pay attention to standings, and then all of a sudden, when I was looking at the standings, like, whoa! Like,
yeah, they got it together once Quick came back. I feel like Cal Peterson, covered for him, and no one really noticed, and then. Once Quick came back, it was, wow, we really do have something going here. So.
Yep. So, but yeah, I love these stats. I love the stats that's coming out right now for the NHL, and something changed, or something that's going on that's like causing this. Don't you think? Like, I feel like this is all happening so quick that there had been like a rule change or something that's causing players to easily like. Break records and run up like points and stuff.
I think that some teams have managed their cap differently than others, and I think that's what's allowed some teams to build a stronger and deeper roster to allow their top players to make X amount of dollars and get more depth scoring out of guys that they're paying the league minimum, and I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that can really, carry the team on a first and second line, and then third and fourth line, they're not exactly weak either, so... I think of like Boston, I think of Tampa, I think of Toronto, those kind of teams, Colorado, and then you see the other guys who haven't really managed cap well and they're retaining 50% of salaries. They've overpaid guys. And I think in a few years, it's going to get not necessarily worse, but it's going to maintain the same way because they're paying a lot of these young guys for what they potentially can do, as I mentioned a couple episodes ago, and not for what they have done. So some of these guys are making these big money contracts and getting signed to them. And then, boom, career-ending injury. Boom, I suck now. I'm in a rut. And this money is just dead cap space. And your team is now SOL because you just have $10 million that's off the books that you can't spend on other players.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see some guys shake out of some of these contracts down the road, I think.
Right. Especially with Toronto.
Yeah.
Three guys making... They're going to have cap space problems.
But that's not going to end up being that far out of the ordinary, I don't think. Like, I think that's kind of how it's going to go. It's going to be, I'm going to pay 3 of my guys big, and then the next 2 lines, call it like a line and a half, forwards and defense, whatever, somewhere in the middle of like 3 to 4, and then the guys underneath that, I'm going to try to pay like $750 to $2,
Yeah.
And I think that's how the money's going to end up being spent.
Interesting theory.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Moving on from Toronto, let's move on to Elvis Merzlikins of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He has started 11 straight games before Jean-Franco Berube got the nod this week, and that was back Sunday versus the Ducks. I went back to see how that 11 games went. He had three wins, 8 losses, and I don't know, like five of those losses all came in like overtime. So he was able to at least get the team into overtime. I think 11 games straight as a goaltender is just a lot. You know, you are burnt out, and you can't score goals. You are a goalie, and you got to do the best you can. And there was probably 2 games where it was in quotes, blown out. I think one of them was the Canadiens, where they won 5-2 against them, and nothing really too crazy after that. But I don't know. It was interesting to see 11 games straight, and it's normal in the playoffs. Not so normal here. I think Tuukka Rask was part of that whole thing too. I think Bruins for a little bit was just giving him games left and right, especially with their shit. Bruins for a while had like terrible backup goaltending, and Tuukka Rask was a guy, and I think Carey Price might have gone through it too. I think it's just the fact that it came to light with Elvis Merzlikins that I went back into it. But I don't know, go with Merzlikins. I've always loved Elvis, even though they're out of the playoffs. But I thought that was just some interesting news to talk about.
That's the thing that just makes no sense to me. They're out of playoffs. Like, why are you riding your starting goalie for 11 straight games in a time in the season where nothing really matters? Like, shouldn't we be focused on the future of the organization, getting this guy up and developed and doing, the right thing for the future? Like, why are we just going to grind our starting goalie into the ground and have him play 11 games, go 3-8, kill his confidence? Like, I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me. I just don't see the mentality behind it.
Right.
It's 11 straight's a lot, dude.
That's a lot. It's a lot of games to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you want to go to the St. Louis Blues here?
Yeah, St. Louis Blues are actually like really fucking hot right now. They're peaking at the right time, I think. The matchup actually for the first round of playoffs that we're going to look at next week seems like it's going to be St. Louis, Minnesota, and that is going to be a bloodbath. These two teams hate each other, and they're both really good right now, both with a lot of depth and hopefully good goaltending. That's what we really need in this series, or otherwise it's going to be a gong show. But one guy on St. Louis is outperforming the rest. He's on an absolute sneaky bender. It's Robert Thomas with a 15-game point streak heading towards the playoffs. Out of nowhere, man. We talked about Jordan Kyrou earlier this season. Willie Husso's really turned the game around, and Binnington's starting to show his true colors again and get back, in between the pipes and start some games. So I think St. Louis could be a sneaky choice in the West. They get the first round win against Minnesota. They might be able to upset someone and make it a little bit further than we expect, I think.
It's good to have those guys just like come out of nowhere and just help out. Like at a solid time when your team needs it, and this is what Robert Thomas is doing right now. And he's really showing why he should stay in the league, stay in the team. I don't know what his contract looks like, but definitely putting in work for St. Louis Blues. Where are they right now in the standings,
I believe they are locked in at third in the West as of right now.
Yeah.
Waiting to see who shakes in behind him, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to catch him.
No.
Actually, they're tied with the Wild. It's not going to change anything because they both have 105 points. The Wild have a game in hand, but I mean, even if they take the 2 spot from them, it's going to be they still have to play the Wild. You know what I mean? Right. So it seems like that matchup's kind of set because after that, we're looking at Predators and Stars with 93 and 91 points, and they're not going to be able to catch them.
Right.
So
let's hope Robert Thomas keeps this thing going. We'll see how he does in the playoffs. Hope it's not just a random streak, and then he's like, back to hanging
hopefully
out.
He didn't use up all his goals now.
Our next little thing is Seattle Kraken. You want to get to that one? This is all you.
Yeah, so this was kind of a weird little side note that happened this week. Macklemore and Marshawn Lynch, who were both present at the Seattle Kraken's expansion draft, they are now both minority owners of the team, so they have small shares and have say in the future of the organization. And they actually let Marshawn Lynch take the Zamboni out for a drive and do some celebrity donuts on the ice, which was hilarious. And the throwback that I thought was interesting was back in college, he stole one of the medical carts and drove it onto the field and was like whipping that thing around on the football field. So I think this was a little callback to that. I thought it was hilarious.
Macklemore and Marshawn Lynch, Seattle Kraken.
What a combo.
It's just it's a weird. You know what I've been seeing randomly at work is I saw it again today, a Seattle Kraken jersey. But I love those jerseys.
I think it's just because they're sharp. I saw someone come into my work this week with a Seattle Kraken hat on. I was like, oh, nice hat, man. He's like, yeah, thanks. I'm like, sick, dude. All right. I'll just go fuck myself. Give you a compliment. Fucking dummy me. But yeah, I just think the logo, the design, the colors, everything's really sharp about it. So I don't blame people for buying it. You know me, bandwagon Vegas behind me over here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're the Vegas guy. Maybe I could be the Seattle Kraken guy now.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm too late now. I'm too late.
Why not, dude? You could be, well...
I had to be the Seattle Kraken guy like a year ago.
I mean, you could be now, but it would be weird to jump on board now when they suck. You know what I mean?
Just one of the worst teams in the league.
I kind of feel like they got shafted, too. The timing of COVID and everything, they had to, like, release their logo and, like, their name, everything like that. And, like, the people that helped build the stadium were all there. Like, they were supposed to have, like, a big full audience, and they're, like, 6 feet apart, like, masks on, and, like, literally, like, checkerboarded throughout the crowd. And they had to do it all virtually. I was like, oh, this kind of sucks for them, you know?
Yeah, you're right. They got shafted both with the draft and that, and I don't know.
Yeah, and their draft got blown up and like exposed, and one of the agents was tweeting out like every pick they were going to make before, so like we all knew exactly who they were taking in the expansion before it even happened. So
I forgot.
Very weird, dude. Very weird.
I don't know. Cracking some eggs. That's it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Got any more dad Kraken jokes, by the way?
Nope, not right now.
I think about
it's
it
too late at
sometimes.
night for that. Seattle Shackin', remember that one? That was great.
Oh, another one of your notes. You want to hop on to the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Yeah, Tampa Bay Lightning, actually, Steven Stamkos gets a beer shower this week after he passed Martin St. Louis for the most career points in franchise history. Tampa Bay and Toronto, they actually had an 8-1 win, which I think was the one that secured it. And we actually got to see it all in this game. The tensions boiled over in what could end up being a first-round matchup in the playoffs. We saw Wayne Simmons fighting Pat Maroon, and during the fight, there were a couple great shots of both of them just like psychopaths smiling at each other while they're fighting. This game actually ended with 118 penalty minutes, the most in a game this season and since the Washington-New York Rangers matchup that we had earlier this season. So sparks were flying, and it'd be awesome to see the matchup in the first round. I think those two teams, oh, man. I don't know who I'd want to win that one, man, because I think Toronto needs a first-round win, but I don't want to see Tampa bounce in the first round after, back-to-back cups.
Mm-hmm. Well, we all know what's going to happen.
I don't know, man. This could be the year. Jack Campbell looks pretty good. Like, it could be the year. It could happen.
Could be the year they get to the second round.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge win in my book. Like, that's a huge win in the coach's book, too, because he's like, damn, we won a playoff round. Like, now I don't get to get fired. Yay.
That's one of those where, like, if they make it past the first round, everyone's in the locker room just, like, with champagne, just, like, all over each other. Like,
I don't think so. I think, like, they're going to be, like, monkeys off the back, and now we can, like, go balls to the wall as players. Mm-hmm. You know, the coach and the staff upstairs are probably like, hell yeah, like, this could be our year now. We're through, like, the first round. That was, like... That's what I think, at least.
Right.
Like, it reminds me of Montreal in the sense of like that there was some magic with that team. I think if Toronto can get a first round win, that would create the magic that team would need to go on a cup run.
Just momentum to keep going. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Huh? Maybe this is the year. We say that about Chicago, the San Jose Sharks back in the day. Fucking like. First in the West.
So close, dude. So close. They were in the Western Conference Finals. I think they lost in Game 7. They were, like, right there, man. I was a huge Sharks fan back then.
Really?
Oh, that was tough.
The Joe Thornton era and the... Oh, God, I'm thinking of the Nabokov era.
Yep.
And
Pavelski was sick.
Vlasic.
Yeah,
dude. Pickles.
Sticking to the San Jose Sharks, actually, next season they're going to be opening their regular season overseas in Prague, Czech Republic. Those games will be played on October 7th and 8th, and that'll be part of the 2022 NHL Global Series. Now, they say there's a Global Series, so I'm hoping to see another couple games with two other teams somewhere else.
Me too.
Like,
yep.
I think China is probably the next target. Like,
yeah, maybe.
But, I mean, with all the shit going on in Russia and over there, it might not be. Mm-hmm. But just to see them grow it somewhere else would be really cool, like another spot.
I thought they did it once in Germany. I don't know.
Yeah, they've had German games. And I think I mentioned to you, like, I've seen preseason before. I've never seen regular season, so this will be really cool too.
Really cool
Games that matter over in Czech.
Right. Yeah, I wonder how many guys, San Jose Sharks, how many Czech guys are just like, ooh, I'm home now, you know?
Yeah.
Nashville Predators, too. So this will be, I love this. Cool to see. This is definitely NHL's way of just kind of like growing more of a fan base, which they need. The more we've done this podcast, the more we realize how small hockey really is compared to all the other sports, especially here in the United States and, North America in general with, like, football and baseball here. You're just like, now Major League Soccer, they pass them too. You know, you're starting to see like how small hockey is. So, like, the sport itself is still growing. So, like, this is the push to, like, you know, get more of a fan base. So this is cool. I can't wait to see this game, to be honest, and just see if they have any more games, like you just said.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if they announce a couple more because that's really what I'm hoping for.
Right. Moving on to Buffalo, we have Rasmus Dahlin. He becomes the first Sabres defenseman to reach 50 points in 26 years when Gary Gailey hit the mark in 1996. Dahlin's he's been a solid pickup ever since he came into the league. He's one of those like offensive defensemen, and he's really shown himself. And it's really this year, and I think last year too. He's like really been like solidifying his spot in like Buffalo Sabres, and we're really, really, really seeing it this year. Same with Roman Josi, defenseman for Nashville Predators. You know, just these guys are getting it done.
I think Dahlin's one of those guys that you just look at the numbers year over year, and he just continues to grow and develop his game. He's adding different tools to the toolbox, and just keeps adding to, you know, everything that he can bring to the table. And this is a really good year for him. It's good to see. Really tough year, honestly, for the Sabres, but they're starting to get it together. It's really cool to see them click again. They were one of the teams that I would say was very streaky, like hot at the beginning of the season, cold in the middle, hot again, cold, right. You know. So Rasmus Dahlin through the ups and downs. Hopefully he sticks around and stays in Buffalo. We'll see.
Hopefully on the rise, maybe.
Another little young Buffalo player on the rise, Owen Power, scores his first career NHL goal against the New Jersey Devils. He actually gets a nice pass from Jeff Skinner laying down on the ice to come in on a breakaway and score 5-hole against Andrew Hammond.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was kind of nuts to see, though, because like Skinner comes in and like blows an edge as he's like coming to a complete stop with a defenseman on him. The New Jersey defenseman blows a tire, too. They're both down on the ice. Skinner gets the pass over, and he's like zipping into the zone. But it's kind of weird. I would expect him to have been like the left winger. It's like Owen Power on defense, just crashing the net. Nice little goal, though. It was cool to see. Good to see him get one, too. He had a couple assists, I think, already. He's had his first career NHL point. So.
Yep. So a good way to break it to the NHL. First goal, get the first goal jitters out, and now let him be the god he's supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
Apparently.
He's going to be the next Jack Eichel.
Okay. All right.
All right, speaking of Jack Eichel,
huh? Wow.
Speaking of Jack Eichel, we're going to go over to the Vegas Golden Knights here.
Mm-hmm.
And they are just going to do classic Vegas Golden Knights things, and this is complete bullshit, in my opinion. Pete DeBoer says after a 3-2 loss to the New Jersey Devils that his goaltender, Robin Lehner, needs to be better than the one at the other end of the ice this time of year. He went on to call all 3 goals that Lehner allowed soft in this game. And the very next game versus Washington, Lehner still gets a start, which people kind of weren't expecting. He ends up not coming back onto the ice in the second period after going 12 for 13 with a .923 save percentage. After the game, DeBoer explained to the media that Lehner is not injured and that he felt that the team was rattled after the first goal and they needed to change and get some less shakiness in the net, basically.
Was not a fan.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, we had these issues at the same time in Edmonton. And maybe that's what DeBoer thinks. Like earlier in the season, this worked for Edmonton when the coach called out Mike Smith and the other goalie to, you know, get their heads out of their ass and really, you know, tell them to the media like, hey, this guy's got to get it together.
Right.
But it was just weird to see him, you know, play decently in the first period and then not go back with him. I think he said that he felt that he should have had that goal. I think that save, you know, have that one back.
Mm-hmm.
But continuing in classic Vegas fashion. Word ends up getting spread later on, a couple days later, I think, that Lehner would be undergoing season-ending surgery. DeBoer addresses this situation and says this is not accurate. He says, quote, "It was a maintenance day today. I expect him at practice tomorrow and expect him dressed on Sunday."
And this all dropped today. So what the fuck? I don't know what's going on. We're just throwing curveballs here. Is Leonard hurt? Is he having surgery? Is DeBoer bullshit? Like what's going on?
It just makes no sense. It's the same shit with the Flurry situation and the Leonard situation and the agent tweeting pictures, and now he's going to Chicago when he says he doesn't want to trade. Like,
yeah.
It's just fucking bullshit. I think just Vegas back office is not handling anything that they do well at all.
No, not whatsoever.
And even DeBoer, I'll lump him with them.
Yeah.
Like in with them too. Like I don't think he's handling all this well. So
no, hell no. And he sat there and called all those 3 goals weak by Leonard. And there was one goal that I keep thinking of where he just kind of like stood up, and it got by him. I get the play was weird, but as a goalie in that kind of tight situation, I don't know, like RVH or at least down on the pads just in case like a random shot comes at you. You know, it's kind of like the move. He just looked bad just standing up and just letting it go by him. That is what I would call soft.
Yeah.
The other 2 goals, no way in hell. So now it's just DeBoer saying that he doesn't like Leonard, basically.
I think it's body language too when it comes to that. Like he gets scored on and it looks like he's super out of position, and he either one like looks really dejected and upset about it, or 2 like shows zero emotion at all. Like just doesn't care. You know what I mean? And I think that's what DeBoer's trying to get across. And this Logan Thompson kid's actually really good. So I think they're going to run into the same issue they ran into last season and not know who to go with come playoff time. So we'll see if Leonard actually does end up back in the net before the end of the season. And if he does, I don't know what the answer is going to be. We got to see how Leonard's playing. And if Logan Thompson's still as hot as he's been, I don't see why you wouldn't go with him.
Right. But now this is the problem when you have a coach going after players, not like goalies, players. This is just what happens. This is the Patrick Laine situation with John Tortorella. It doesn't look good, and it depends on the whole back office. You know, just like, does the back office want Leonard in net? You know, they at this point they know DeBoer and Leonard are having an issue right now, and if the back office is going to support DeBoer, do you think Leonard's going to be like, all right, I want to get the fuck off this team, you know?
Yeah, I think regardless, Leonard's going to want out, and he's going to be able to demand and request a trade, and he's going to go somewhere that's going to want him. But I could see him ending up, you know, kind of like a Scott Darling and kind of riding off into the sunset in a way. That's the way I see his career ending, but we'll see.
It's unfortunate. It really is. But, yeah, Vegas.
Yeah, sucks to suck.
It's almost insane. Like, you love Vegas. Vegas is like a good team, but when it comes to like back office,
shitty organization,
head coach, exactly, 100%. So I guess we'll see what happens. Again, this literally dropped on us today. Throughout the week, it was like all curveballs, but yeah, the last one just dropped on us today, and I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna see Robin Lehner Sunday. I don't know. We'll have to find out. So
they're still technically on the outside looking in on playoffs, and even if they do get in, like, what are they going to play? The fucking Colorado Avalanche, the Calgary Flames? They're screwed. They're done.
They're screwed regardless.
Their season's over.
Yep. GG's. So for our last NHL news, we have the Detroit Red Wings. They have fired Zamboni driver Al Saboka due to him peeing in a drain. Al has been diagnosed with benign I'm not good with medical terms here. Benign prostatic hypertrophy? Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's good enough.
I hope I did. Which causes frequent and uncontrollable urination. According to reports, he was putting a Zamboni away and had the uncontrollable urge to pee, and the nearest bathroom was upwards of 70 feet away and used the drain instead.
And apparently
is there a reason for this?
Apparently the staff around is all male too.
Male too.
So I mean, someone brought it to their attention because it wasn't like they were like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Some employee was like, "This guy's pissing in the drain."
Right.
And I mean, it's understandable.
This dude has like a very understandable condition. It's not just like a guy with like good health.
Yeah, but as the guy walking by, you're not going to be like, "Oh, bro, you got a medical condition." You're going to be like, "Why the fuck are you pissing in the drain, bro?" You know what I mean? Like.
But this is on the company too to be like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like instead of sitting down and be like, "What's going on?" and him being like, "Well, I have this going on," and be like, "Okay."
Well, they did.
This,
and then a week later, they let him go. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of wishy-washy, but
it's wishy-washy.
I don't blame the employee for being like telling the boss like, "Dude, this guy's pissing in the drain." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if he's like some weirdo? You know what I mean? Where else is he pissing? But it's like once he says he has like that condition, I'd be like, all right, dude, like we get it. Like that's all right. We're good.
We're good.
I think at least. I don't know. Probably wouldn't be allowed back at Strawberry Valley if they knew where I was pissing.
This whole group.
I'm not driving.
Our whole group shouldn't be allowed back at Strawberry
I'm not driving my golf cart all the way back from hole 5 to go back to the clubhouse and go to the restroom. I'm just telling you that for free.
Yeah.
All right.
All those female deers.
That's where I'll leave that.
If they could talk, man, they'd be like, nope, you're out of here. Definitely not an all-male dare
Facility.
The
The geese,
out
dude.
there.
The geese.
All the geese, yeah. But I don't know. I this is just so weird to me. Just so weird.
It sucks.
It sucks. It sucks for Al. I hope he figures something out. It's just weird that they took it to this. They took it to such an extreme to fire him when he has like a legit medical condition where you're just like.
Well, the medical condition doesn't mean you can just piss on the floor, piss wherever you want.
Yeah, but what if he like just pissed his pants? You know.
Yeah, he wouldn't be fired if he pissed his pants, right?
Right.
Maybe he should have just pissed his pants. I don't know, dude. Like, I'm sure they have like a strong HR program that understood like what to actually do here. They aren't just two schmucks in a basement doing a podcast.
There's no strong HR. This okay. I don't know. All right. Well, enough of the P talk. I'm sure we got some fetishists out there, but we're done with that.
Jesus.
Done with the P talk. So you want to get this other news? We have a few more to go through, and these are pretty much your notes.
Yeah, so in the WHL, Connor Bedard ended up finishing the season with 51 goals and 100 points on the button. He recorded 2 goals and 3 assists in his last game of the season to reach that 100-point mark. So he was at 95, and he ends up getting 5 points in one game to finish with 100. That's kind of crazy, right?
You know what the crazy fact is for the WHL? We keep talking about Connor Bedard, but he's like 3rd in the league with like points. Isn't that nuts?
That is kind of nuts.
There's like one guy or 2 guys above him with like more goals, more points than he does.
Wow, that is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably like a finesse thing. Like he's this like elite goal scorer,
Yeah.
and maybe the other team is like really strong in the power play, or the defenseman's racked up a ton of assists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that is nuts to see that he's the most talked about guy in this league, but there's 2 or 3 guys ahead of him.
Yeah. He's
That's
just getting the spotlight. Me and actually, you know what's funny? Me and a few coworkers were talking. They were talking about basketball. I don't really know much, but they were talking about how like SportsCenter and Nesson or whatever, they'll for some reason highlight or spotlight like a few players and be like, they'll make it seem like this guy's like the best, just like watch out for him. And like for an actual like fan, you see him and then like start looking at the stats, you're like, dude, this guy's like 5th best, maybe. I'm like, you have 4 other guys to talk about. Why, like, you spotlighting this dude? And no disrespect to Connor Bedard at all, but, like, there's 2 other guys that are just, like, doing better than him that don't have the spotlight. I can't even think of their names off the top of my head, but I can definitely tell you Connor Bedard is one of the best in the WHL because he's gotten the spotlight so much.
Yeah, but I think that also could be quality over quantity. Like, yeah, they might have more. Yeah, they'll probably have, like, I mean, maybe those 2 guys are teammates. They're saucing the puck to each other. They're putting the puck in the back of the net. And it's all like 2-on-1, 2-on-0, certain passing plays that are working. This guy is a finesse player. Like, he's the one with the stick handling ability. He's creating opportunities. He's, like, putting the puck in the back of the net on his own, puck on a string kind of shit, I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but that is a great point.
Yeah. But moving on from Connor Bedard here, we have some NCAA news. I can say it. The Minnesota Wild Mavericks goalie Dryden McKay, who we talked about last week or the week before, has accepted a 6-month period of ineligibility for an anti-doping violation. Dryden McKay was the goalie who won the Hobie Baker Award that we talked about.
He also won the Frozen Four.
Frozen Four too, and he's the one that. What am I trying to say here? The goalie that was undrafted, who I was just like, wow, that's kind of crazy for a goalie to go undrafted and get the Hobie Baker Award, and he had to drive from, where was he? And that
Boston to New York.
Boston, New York, and then back. So, kind of, I don't know, kind of weird news here.
Yeah, they mentioned at one point that he would be stripped of like certain medals, awards, and all this shit. So I don't know what the deal is. Like if he's losing the Hobie Baker, the national championship, all that shit. Like I don't know really where they stand. I didn't do too much of a dive on this, but apparently 6 months from now he'll be able to play again. I think it'll be like January is when his actual ineligibility is up again, or something like that. I forget. But yeah, kind of interesting. Kind of weird to see. I did have one side note too. I did want to apologize for my major fuck up last week when we were talking about the outdoor game between the Boston Bruins, who are not owned by Fenway Sports Group, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. I got confused because Fenway Sports Group owns the Red Sox, and they're playing in Fenway. So got my shit mixed up. Apologies to the Jacobs family that owns the Boston Bruins, and I'm a fucking idiot. So last little note for you to touch on here too.
I didn't even notice it, by the way.
That's because you say it loud enough and with enough confidence, people believe like anything that comes out of your mouth. Like that's what it's all about, dude. You just say it like it's entirely factual, and they'll buy it.
Apparently.
Yeah.
You said it so quick. I put it up on what I put. I put that clip up on a few places. I think it was Facebook. And Dave, who I play hockey with, he's the one who caught on to it, but he didn't say what it was. He just said like, "Oh, Boston is not. The Bruins are not owned by the Boston Sports Group, Fenway Sports Group." I'm like, "No, they're not." And he goes, "Okay," and I'm like, "Right." I'm like, where are you going with this? And he goes, "Dude, look at the 22-second mark." And I went to it. I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, major slip of the tongue there. My bad.
It do be like that sometimes. In unfortunate news, we talked about Mike Bossy last week passing away, and today we have the unfortunate passing of Canadians Guy Lafleur, who passed away at 70 following a battle with lung cancer. I'm just going to go through the notes for him before we start talking about him. The Flower played parts of the 17 NHL seasons with the Montreal Canadiens, the New York Rangers, and Quebec Nordiques, recording 560 goals and 793 assists in 1,126 games. He won the Stanley Cup with the Habs in 73, 76, 77, 78, 79, the Hart Trophy in 77 and 78, the Conn Smythe in 77, the Art Ross in 76, 77, and 78, the Lester B. Pearson Award in 76, 77, and 78, and it was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1988. Internationally, he represented Team Canada on 3 occasions, winning the Canada Cup in 1977. A 70s god, a huge part of the Montreal Canadiens. Back in the day, the 70s, I'm telling you, up to like 93, the Montreal Canadiens were just a force to be reckoned with, and he was part of that. So I'm very sorry to hear that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the news today. I saw it, and I'm like, dude, Mike Bossy last week, and then Guy Lafleur this week. I just couldn't believe it. What a huge name, too, you know?
Yeah, well said. I don't really have much more to add on to that, honestly. Like, you kind of covered it all there. But, yeah, rest in peace to both of those legends, and like I said with the comedians that passed, death comes in threes, so let's hope that this time it doesn't.
It doesn't? Yep. It's kind of getting sad seeing just random people passing away.
Yeah, and they're all like well-known, like well-liked individuals too, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. It's like, what's going on, you know? And I had no idea he was fighting lung cancer either, too. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, wow, really? But 70, man. 70's still just so young.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that too, I guess, from personal experience, because my grandfather right now is 92 years old.
Jesus,
so now
dude, that's fucking long life, man.
I'm taking like 22 years off of like my grandfather right now for 70. So like, in his I guess point of view, it's like, yeah, wow, that's like 22 years younger than him, you know. So
it's crazy.
It's insane. But yeah, I guess in my point of view, 70 is pretty old.
But 70's a good life.
70's a
good number to go at.
Right, exactly.
92, man, that's a long ass life.
92.
Good for him.
No Kane, no nothing. Still walking around, still chugging biz. Good man, local man,
legend.
Legend. With that said, that is it for today's. I keep wanting to say tonight because we drop this at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday, so I don't know why I keep saying it.
Yeah, we do that. We say tonight's episode, right?
Yeah.
And then they like listen at like noon.
Every time I edit the podcast, I listen to it. I'm like, why did I say that? You know?
I didn't realize that. I never noticed it.
Never noticed it.
Yeah, that is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because I'm
with
part
so
of it,
much
though.
confidence. That's
Exactly,
why.
dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also because I'm here and I'm like, yeah, we did record it at night. You're right.
I got to work on that. Like the shot I got today is another Fire and Ice. With confidence, I'm going to say it is a great shot that you must have.
Not buying it.
Not buying it.
I am, for one, having my classic peanut butter and jelly shot. That is a terrible shot, and I'm going to use reverse psychology. Don't ever buy it or try it. Now people will buy it.
Don't even look for it. I don't know. Google. Don't
See?
do it.
He's doing reverse psychology too.
Mm-hmm.
Go buy it.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers, pal. Playoffs next week. Let's go.
Dude. So good. So good.
Not so good. Not so good.
You right over there?
Yeah, yuck.
How much more do we have left of that, by the way?
About a half a bottle.
Fuck.
Gonna need your help.
Well, I know what we're doing next week. PBJ.
Double time.
Mm-hmm.
2 shots an episode.
What did we finish last time? Remember we were trying to like go through the SoCo.
Yeah.
Now we got to finish peanut butter and jelly, and then that it.
I think so. I think after that, I'm just gonna start buying nibs.
You have I hate tequila, and from my point of view right now, you have for some reason I think I see 5.
That's my wife.
Oh, thank God.
Every time we go somewhere, like she'll buy tequila to like have a drink. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're drinking tonight. I'll have tequila and Sprite. And she'll buy like the massive 1.75 liter bottle and like not realize that we have 4 of them in the basement. So now there's 5, and they just keep multiplying. And I'm like, please stop buying
Please
these.
stop. We can't. I don't want to drink it either.
I'm not drinking it, dude. No, it's hers. Gross.
Well, with that said, you want to call us out?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. If there's anything you want to see us cover next episode, let us know. Our links are in the description, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
Bye, guys.